Good morning, happy Saturday. It's a very bright blue day, as you can see, but it's also absolutely freezing, so I'm wrapped up rather warm to go and buy a few bits from M&S. And then later this afternoon there's going to be a little meet up with me and Steve and Tom and Vino and maybe Small and a few others. So that should be quite nice as long as mulled wine is involved.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
So I'm back in Hyde Park where I tried to get into Winter Wonderland the other day on my way to work. Today hopefully will be more successful, although there are even more people. It is crazy. I have to say though, most people actually weren't getting off the tube here. They were carrying on in Soho, which is, I mean, insane, but there we go. Christmas shopping, I guess. I'm always taking in all the wonders of the Bavarianness. This is Christmas. This is how Christmas works. You sit in a Bavarian beer hall and a man plays an accordion.
Where on the outside of your sleeve?
We need to give a guided tour of some udders in a moment.
It's almost 3 o'clock, so on the outside of your sleeve.
Over here you can see a mustard, a ketchup and a mayonnaise udder. Thanks, Steve. Oh, this is perfectly safe.
What happens when you push the back? It's like Brussels. Italian.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm pressing with my head. Oh, God,
Yeah. That looks tunnel dizziness, okay. That was
like this in the underground.
There's a lot of these slip and slides. Oh, go down a slide. Your throat, man.
Who had a fear of the little silver balls you get on cakes. He was terrified of them.
It's amazing. Yeah, there's a bubble machine here. All these bubbles fill with smoke. As you can see, it's a bubble smoke machine. I'm filming you taking a picture of yourself drinking a beer.
Please edit that.
I'm going to have to cut this clip because I don't have copyright for this music. See, it's magical at night. That's why it's a wonderland. Good morning. That car driving through Kew there is Kew's police force. It has its own police force which consists of one car. That one. The Kew Constabulary. Excuse me. It is winter, so I have a cold. I'm currently going for a little walk to go and buy some kimchi. It's Monday, it's veggie day, etc, etc. All these things you've heard before. I just wanted to talk about the fact that the Formula 1 season has ended. It ended this weekend. I wasn't working on Saturday and Sunday, which was quite pleasant. And on Friday I did my last bit of F1 for this year. I think I've hinted at it. I think I've touched on it slightly, but it has been an incredibly difficult project, this. It has been the most difficult project that I've been involved with this year, and it has given me sleepless nights, unsolvable problems, which are the worst kind of problems, and I do not like them, where you essentially run up against a limitation of budget, willpower or equipment. And whilst I very much enjoy F1, I'm very glad the season's over, which is not something I'd usually say, and is, you know, slightly disappointing in a way. So my hope is that next season, if I'm involved in any way, it will be a lot easier. I know the equipment has improved and so has the budget, and therefore hopefully those two things together with willpower will solve the problems. And right now I'm having a Monday to myself. It's a Monday off. I'm working Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. And then it's December already. We're into Advent and I need to do some Christmas shopping with some huge urgency now. But I thought I'd come through Kew because a week in nature is a long time, and the garden's changed dramatically at this point. Less and less leaves, less and less colour. And at some point in the next 2 weeks or so, it'll reach its sort of nadir, as it were, and then it won't sort of come back again until sort of February. So it's nice to see it one last time before we get there. There's one of the remaining trees that still has leaves. Most of the rest of it, as you can see, is a little bleak, bar the pines, and the eucalypti, which seem to be faring quite well. I don't actually know whether the eucalyptus sheds its leaves. That's some information I'll have to find out. So I know a lot of people at this point in the year start going, oh, review of 2017, what did you like, what didn't you like, what was your best bit, you know, your top 10 songs, your best films, blah blah. Not into any of that, not interested. The reason I'm not interested primarily is because I think you should be looking forwards, not backwards. And I just think it's dwelling. You're just lingering unnecessarily on events that have already occurred. It's all very well, it's perfectly entitled to enjoy things and go back to them if you can, but you can't go back to a lot of things. So all I'll say is the wedding was my highlight of this year. There is nothing else. There doesn't need to be anything else. And but even that is just the first day in a very long series of years, hopefully. And as I keep saying to Crystal, you know, that's not the end. When the wedding finishes, that's not the end. And in fact, as of today, that wedding day is 1/4% of our marriage so far. So that very quickly puts it into context. I'm very much looking forward to 2018. I'm always very much looking forward to what's happening next. I think that's the most exciting thing about life, and I think you have to really focus your energies in that direction. There's a lot of exciting things happening in these gardens next year. Things opening, the pagoda, the tempera house, and who knows what else is planned, both personally and professionally. So, you know, I mean, I have a vague idea, obviously. But that's the best thing about coming to the end of the year, is looking forward to the next one. I realise there is some gross hypocrisy in a man who records every day of his life saying, I don't like looking backwards. And I don't tend to watch the vlogs back much, really. I would usually watch them once. They're more there than as an aide memoir, when I think, oh, what was that restaurant we went to in Paris, or what were we doing last April? I'm sure we did something interesting, but and then I can look back, and it's really just like writing a diary, only my handwriting's terrible, so this works a lot better. That said, about 2 years ago, this week, as myself and Crystal were discussing yesterday when we were walking around Richmond, I think it's about 2 years ago is when I bought an engagement ring. And if I can find it, this is the point that I'm going to insert the lost footage. It suffices to say that that seems like quite a long time ago now. It was only 2 years ago. It was the week before we went to Berlin for the first time. We are looking at the moment about maybe we will go back in the spring for our wedding anniversary, because it's Berlin where we got engaged and it's our wedding anniversary. So that would be very nice. I've never been any time other than December. So we'll have to see how that pans out. In the meantime, I have kimchi to buy, places to walk, etc. Good afternoon. I'm here in the studio today. We're recording a 20 questions interview this morning, and this afternoon got some sorting out to do for New Year's Day parade and next year's F1. You understand, having my long conversations about how I don't want to do it, it still means that it should work, and the work needs doing now before March. to make whoever has to do it's life as easy as possible. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Yesterday, I don't think I filmed anything yesterday. I popped in to drop some iPads off for Neil, did some wandering around, left my gloves on a train, feel like a proper idiot because it's now really cold. Did some more Christmas shopping investigations, but no actual Christmas shopping. And Monday, what was I doing on Monday? Very little, indeed. I did have some video work to do. I think I did a bit of that. Can't remember. It's a long time ago. Anyway, tonight we are getting the band back together. It is the annual, now it's pretty much only annual, Burst reunion. Haven't seen the rest of them since the wedding, so it'll be nice to catch up. And although nobody else knows this, I've invited David Shepherd along, who was the station manager after me and sort of studio legend. He now works on BBC Devon, so obviously it's a bit more of a stretch to get him to come to London, but we managed to organise this, so that's promising, and it's just around the corner from here, so it makes sense to be at USP today. So that's really what I'm up to at the moment, and I have nothing further to report. So I'm off to this pub, King Charles I in King's Cross, for a Burst meet-up with a special surprise guest who I've already told you about. I don't know how much of it I will film. I'll try and film as much as possible, but it could be too noisy, too dark, or too incoherent. But I'll endeavour to do my best. That's contrived. This is SMK. It's hard to say. I mean, you haven't changed a bit. So God only knows whether you can make out any of that footage, because, as I said, it was too dark and it was too loud and it was also too incomprehensible. But I filmed it anyway because it had to be done, and it was really nice to see Dave especially, but also everybody else, because we don't see each other very much, and I haven't seen almost any of them apart from Adam since the wedding, and at best we catch up twice a year. So it was very much worthwhile, and I very much enjoyed it. And it's now, I don't know what time, 10 past midnight, and I'm at Turnham Green, and it's really cold and I want to go home. So I made it out to John Lewis. Today's been a bit of a write-off, but the owl selection in here is excellent. So London looks quite good. It's top night. Just going to wander through the Christmas farm on the way to the opposite towers. It's first to say that yesterday I definitely had a little bit too much to drink, although it was extraordinarily fun, as I'm sure I mentioned whilst drunk. And this morning has been an absolute write-off. Like, I barely got out of bed till 11. I felt terrible. I felt so terrible, in fact, that I couldn't actually go and buy something to eat until about 2 o'clock, which is kind of counterproductive. But anyway, we made it out eventually. I've been through Oxford Street, although that was, as it turns out, pointless. So I'm just hoping to get a bit of Christmas cheer on my way in. Good morning. It's only just morning. It's Friday. It's the 1st of December. It's the start of Advent, and simultaneously the end of the week. It was astonishingly cold yesterday, and it's pretty cold today. I feel a lot better, which is a relief, because I have to go. I'm being paid to work at the House of Commons tonight, filming an event being held there on farming. All of which I only know because I have one email from Neil that gives me what I need to film, and I have a formal invite, because you cannot turn up to the House of Commons without one unless they're doing an open day. And so yes, I've got to turn up there with my camera kit. Presumably it all has to go through metal detectors and bag searches and stuff. I hope so anyway. And then yes, I'm filming this awards, and I don't actually know which part of the Commons, or which part of the house it's actually in. I presume it's actually in Westminster Hall, but I I don't know that for sure, so I should probably check that. I do know which entrance I have to use. But before then, because it is blue, I'm going for a bit of a walk. And yesterday was our 7-month anniversary. I know I go on about this every month. So I'm doing a little walk, which is the same walk that I took to walk to the wedding venue. Here we are. It's Cambridge Cottage. My home away from home. I'm going to carry on today because I can't go through the doors here and go in the main entrance and continue my little round walk. So as I mentioned, I went to the Christmas market last night on the South Bank, which has historically been quite an impressive selection of lodges that ran all the way down. And despite the fact that it's in everybody's top 10 London Christmas markets, this year it's terrible. And I don't use that term lightly. It's tiny for a start. We expect a lot more. It's theoretically Nordic themed, but the food choices are kind of all over the place. And, I mean, you might say it's good, but they're predominantly British, which kind of misses the point of a Christmas market in my world. And it's just got no atmosphere at all. Zero. So not going there again. That was rubbish. I might do a chart of Christmas markets. I think Winter Wonderland obviously is going to come near the top if you can find a moment where it's not absolutely heaving. But Kingston is historically pretty good. Might get to go in there on the weekend, have a sausage and some mulled wine. Because I am really missing Berlin right now. I thought I'd be fine. And we're in December and now I'm in massive withdrawal and shock. So I need something to combat that. As I mentioned, it is Friday, so we should do a word of the week. And this week, because of my astounding hangover yesterday, the word of the week is going to be a verb for once, and that verb is to drink. Yes, to drink. Now, in German, the verb to drink is trinken, as appears on the screen currently. And if you wanted to say I drink, you'd say ich trinke, like that. So there you go. That's to drink in German. In Italian, the verb to drink is bere, as is written below. And if you wanted to say I drink again, you'd say io bevo. So there you go. There's a little insight into my hangover-fueled world. And that was today's word of the week. So I'm carrying on my little walk. I realised today what I haven't shown you is today's new purchase, which is my new gloves, which are excellent and stripy and in the colours of the European flag. I'll just upset this squirrel. No, he's not that bothered. Dude, what are you doing? What's in there? What have you found? Anything? Anything at all? No, okay. Maybe I have upset him. So I got these awesome new gloves that cost like £3 off eBay. In fact, I might buy all of the other design things, they only cost £3. But the reason I had to buy them is because, like an idiot, I left my other gloves on the train, which were the ones I got from Tiger, which I don't know if you've seen, but Tiger used to sell a lot of touch gloves and they're all black and they have different coloured fingertips. But the reason that I left them on the train, now I'm starting to make excuses, you understand, is that just as I was getting off the train at Vauxhall, some absolute dickhead from Sky rang me and tried to sell me a Sky package. I didn't want to talk to them and they wouldn't take no for an answer, and that was just as I was pulling into the station. So I left my flipping... So I'm tempted to invoice Sky for the £2.99, but it's very unlike me. I just don't leave things like that. I just don't lose stuff. I misplace it around the house, you understand, but that's different. I never leave it somewhere else. So I'm very angry, but these gloves are excellent, so, you know, every cloud and what have you. So there we go. I just thought I'd share that as it's Friday, and that's traditionally where we have a little rant. So as I mentioned, I am working at the Palace of Westminster tonight, and that would have been something that a few years ago I would have been very excited about. I have a great interest in politics, as you probably noticed, and This would be like the ultimate being paid to be there kind of situation. But I'm not going into tonight with sort of the rose-tinted glasses I may once have done. In fact, I'm not really looking forward to it, if I'm honest. And the reason being is because twofold. Number one, the Palace of Westminster are in a terrible state. They're massively overdue for refurbishment. Probably half a century overdue. Current estimate of how much that costs, about £3.5 billion. But it kind of has to happen because it gets £100 million worth every year. But whether there's the political will to do that, who knows? But otherwise, although it's, you know, not that old really compared to some things in the UK, 1840s, it will just decay beyond the point where it can be repaired, and that would be a shame, I think. But the other reason, so that's, the building isn't that glamorous, is the point I'm getting at. The idea of the building from a distance is much nicer. The other reason is that the inhabitants of that building are quite frankly deplorable at this point. The majority of them over the last 8 months have consistently voted for things that they know are not in the best interests of the British people, and that is utterly contemptible. And you know, I can't easily forgive that kind of behaviour. So yeah, it's a place not filled with people I particularly like, and a building that is well past its peak. So now you can see why I'm maybe less than excited about going. So it's me again, this time from the past, to do a sign-off, because it occurred to me that I would never remember when I was, you know, messing around filming and what have you. So thank you for watching this week. I very much appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the general shenanigans. And next week we'll start with the Swatch Christmas party, which is at Somerset House. So join me for that.
Toby.